Okay, we're live. Hi,
Yeah.
Raghu.
Hi, Chris.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing good. We are still
Okay,
in the rainy
so
season.
sorry.
We are still in the rainy season, though. Last time we did, it was raining. It seems
Okay,
like it's about to rain right now.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you have two seasons, right?
No, four as usual.
Four. Okay,
You know,
okay.
our rainy season is smaller than yours.
I mean, technically, we're not supposed to have a rainy season here in Johor Bahru. We're technically equatorial. That means it should be the same, but things have changed in the last couple of
Oh.
decades. Yeah, we're starting to see more sort of monsoon influence.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, it was just hot every day, and at 4 o'clock it would be convectional rain because the heat would drive the moisture up, and it would rain for 2 hours, and then so every day, 4 out of 7 days it would rain.
Oh, nice.
But now we're starting to have this sort of seasonal thing of a weather, December and all that kind of stuff. Things are shifting. Anyway, so yeah, I really liked our conversation the last time, and I
Yeah.
realized it's really valuable for someone listening in to hear two people talking in two different countries as well.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought it was quite interesting to have a couple of perspectives on it as well.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think yeah, so we'll keep this up. We'll talk every couple of months
Mm-hmm.
and catch up because also um, we're doing sort of similar work, but not exactly the same. But there are some contrasts and some comparisons, so that's quite interesting as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this time I sent you a message saying I kind of there's something I did want to talk to you about, and because I'm sort of working on a topic about food, and you said that maybe you're not an expert on it, which doesn't matter because that is actually the point of the conversation. But before I do that, shall I just catch up with you? What's happened since I last spoke to you? Anything different,
Yeah,
or is
yeah,
it
yeah.
same old, same old?
Yeah.
Same.
Um, yeah, my daughter has grown up quite a lot.
Okay.
She's 4 now, so she she needs more attention from last time
Okay.
we. So I have to get more time in that. And
Okay.
my workshop is you know I it's coming to a phase where I am confident that it should be open in next 2 months.
Okay.
So that's happening fast because I've changed some schedules. So I work very early in the morning. I start very early in the morning when my
Uh-huh.
daughter is sleeping and my son is still sleeping. So
Okay.
that I can get half of my work done in the morning. Like I start 4:30 in the morning, and then I come back, and so because of that, I get more time now. So yeah, things are moving fast. I think
Okay.
my space for everyone to work will be open in next 2 months. That's happening. Other than
Okay.
that, everything's as usual. I'm still working with the school. I like it, and my consultations are engineering design consultations are going. Uh, yeah.
Okay. I have a few projects that are starting to kick in, but a little too early to even talk about. So what I'm actually doing is doing a lot more work about the content for our nature-based site because I think that's valuable. At some point, we have this body of content that we can refer to, even when we're talking, or like just even I had a hot chat with Nisha the other week, and now with just a little bit more work for the thing, now I put in some links and a little bit of a descriptor. I've changed the way it's titled, and we get more views now. So I mean, all these things are fine tuning.
Yeah.
This is not our primary job, so it's kind of we kind of have to sort of figure that out. Yeah. So okay, so what I want to talk to you because I'm working on this content, and it's also part of the work that we're trying to do with eco literacy is actually this sort of area about food, because it's actually a kind of a big deal,
Yeah.
in a few different ways. One is actually it's the most basic way that anyone can actually have some kind of power you're buying, your purchasing power is actually a vote here.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
so how you're behaving actually matters. And sometimes uh, poor behavior is actually the result of actually poor information. What I see is actually people doing things because a lot of misinformation out there about stuff, and which is why I want to talk to you because, the misinformation partly comes from just a lot of information just blowing through the information space, and it's coming from the West, it's coming from, and it's actually competing with our sort of baseline heritage information, you know. And I'm thinking actually in terms of, I used to do some work with foster dogs, and one of the ways we actually used to fix them was to change their diet, you know, because a lot of these foster dogs they would be given up because they would have like allergy problems, and and a lot of them came from the fact that they were eating just poor quality commercial factory made kibble food, you know. When my history as a kid was we used to cook the food for the dog, and that's actually the best thing to do. The quality is better, the amount of meat is in there is better, all this kind of stuff, right?
Same thing from my vet for my dog.
Oh yeah, you
Asked
have
him.
dogs too, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so my vet asked me to not to give the ready-made dog food that comes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
they asked me to just give him lot of curd with rice. That would be a lot better than giving the dog food. And
Yeah.
so if it's not much oily, we can also give what we eat. So we
Yes.
most yes we do that.
Yes. So what happens in that world is actually, so I'm referring to the US. So in the US, the pushback against it, there was a lot of pushback against a homemade diet or raw diet, or was because the food manufacturers were actually very aligned with the vets. They wanted the vets to recommend their food and sell their food. And so the vets would say, "Oh, but your this food is scientifically figured out." Yes. And so just to compare that with the human experience, one of the big sort of things in the human world was when this guy called Michael Pollan wrote a book called Omnivore's Dilemma. And he said, one of the basic things he said is you should eat what your grandmother ate. And I think this is at the crux of the thing is our grandmothers weren't scientists, you know, and somehow they had that kind of wisdom to provide a nutrition and a food that was good enough for you, if not better. So that is really the where I want to start with you is like how did you know because there's a conversation about how did you learn how to eat, you know how did you learn how to eat, like, are you basing what you eat on what you ate as a growing up, you know
When I look back, that whatever you said, eat what your grandma ate. That's what I did. My
okay.
mom learned it from her mother, and she taught it for us. And today also, we like to cook what my mom used to cook, which is
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
she learned from her mother, which
Yeah.
is more clear, which is easier, and in a way I feel like nowadays cooking has become such a know, longer process, that's with so many ingredients, and it was so simpler. The food was so simpler. I feel the food was so simpler for my grandmother and my grandfather than what they used to eat. And we try to make it that way, more simple food, less cooked, rather than having, three kind of masalas and stuff like that. You know,
So do you and your wife share a similar background?
yeah.
Yeah. So
Since
did you grow up vegetarian or mixed or
I grew up non-vegetarian. When we say non-vegetarian here, we used to eat once or twice in a month.
okay, which is actually not dissimilar to Malaysia. When I was a kid, even if you didn't call yourself a vegetarian, you actually didn't eat that much meat. You maybe once a week, a couple of times a month. Otherwise your meals were quite rich in like pulses, lentils,
Yeah.
egg, small fish, seafood, things like that. Not the kind of like amount of meat eating that we see now, which is crazy. And
My
part of the
mom,
problem. Yeah.
bit of a drier region of Karnataka, the state that we live in. Drier in the sense less rain. So
Okay.
she grew up eating more of these lentils and pulses and small greens, which grows in smaller areas fastly, quickly. Small
And you
greens
can
based.
store it, and it's storable. That's probably why. Yeah. Okay.
Things. She grew up eating that, so I grew up what my mom grew
Yeah.
up eating. She cooked what she learned. So we
Okay.
still so our food mainly involves that, and non-vegetarian was very less, like once or twice in a month.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
and
Yeah. I know.
now it has become even less.
Okay. And actually, it's something that we don't talk about enough because actually the Indian community here has this history of eating a more vegetarian diet, with with yogurt and a little bit of meat and not necessarily all vegetarian. Uh, and we don't have not really talk about it enough to actually know, there's some valuable information there that we should really be, paying attention to. Um, then the other thing is that the you know, in Malaysia, what's happened is that we now eat a lot more meat than we used to. We
I
also
saw.
eat a we also eat a lot more fat and carbohydrate. The value of our meals are much higher. In fact, it's become a problem. I just checked because I wanted to see if there's a comparison between here and India. It's not as big of a problem. I think you're something like at 2% obesity, and we're at something like 15% obesity, which is quite significant. So do you notice a shifts, say, from when you're a kid and how younger people are eating
Yeah,
now?
I see. Because I work with the school, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
So the thing is, non-vegetarian, we see it such a way that it's not something that our religion accepts, right? So our
Oh,
God, whatever the God we say, the God is there. So they don't like the non-vegetarian, and one of the God is the knowledge God, right? So we were strictly not to we wouldn't eat non-veg if before going to school, or we never took non-vegetarian into the school
oh, okay.
because as I said, knowledge God didn't like it. It's called Saraswati. Uh, that's not something we should do. It's totally against what we believed in the sense my father and mother taught us. Right. So but nowadays I've seen that shift where people are okay to eat more non-vegetarian, so that children sometimes bring non-vegetarians to school.
Okay. And
and
there's no
uh,
friction anymore. There's no pushback against it.
school is the making a blind eye towards it, and not
Okay.
really caring much about it. It's less in our school, but I think it's same everywhere. It's even more in other schools also, and
What
even government
about
schools
what about
started giving.
Western food? Something that I see here. I notice it a little bit more with my Indian friends because they say that their children don't want to eat Indian food anymore. They want to eat pizza, burger. They say Indian food is too spicy, which is crazy. It's like it's your heritage food.
Spicy thing. What I
Uh,
understand, my grandmother used to say, or my grandfather used to say, hard food makes you hard, like something like that. So all our food was quite hard to eat. It was the rotis were difficult to eat, and
oh,
um, they are made to last. Like once you cook roti, you can keep it for days and nothing would happen. So people, if they are traveling and they are doing something, so they were even the cooked food when you eat, it was made to last. Like only 2 meals a day. So early in the morning before going to the farm, they would eat and go, and it will last until 5 in the evening. So that type of food was there, which was hard to eat, but would last in your stomach also, or last on the No, if you're keeping outside of saline,
So you're saying it was more dense? It was just more dense nutrition,
hard in a sense physically it was hard. Like it was hard to bite
more
also.
fiber. You had to chew
Bite.
it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Difficult. It's slow. It would digest slowly. Things like that. Food was in that sense. And then because of rice became more abundant these days, rice is very easy to eat and stuff. Along with rice, the Western food is it's more it has more carbohydrate content and fat contents. It's more
But do you see more of it now? Do you see more hamburgers and pizza in your food environment?
Yeah, yeah. Like we have at least a cafe opening every 15 days in Mysore. New cafe.
Wow.
Cafe it's a joint where you get burgers, sandwiches, ready-made fries like French fries and what do you say the nuggets kind of things, fingers, stuff like that. Where they have it in the freezer, they put it in the oil and just give it to you. So these kind of cafes are literally every 15 days I could see one doing it because a lot of people are sitting. And after the COVID, uh, food deliveries became very normal. So people just order it online, and ordering online in India is big now. It's huge. Like we
Mm.
have people, right? So we have a lot of people who can deliver it to us. So yes, we have all the guys in 15 to 25 aged boys who are from village who should be learning how to do farming are here delivering stuff to our homes every day. Lot of them.
Mm.
So
Yep.
it's that. So I see that like delivery guys goes going all the time. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, here it's also affecting things like it's actually creating the kind of problems that have led to big problems in like the states. So in the states, like in New York City, I used to live in Harlem, and Harlem is considered like a food desert. I.e., it's hard to buy fresh food. You can buy Taco Bell and stuff, but actually, a supermarket that sells vegetables, they're further apart. You know, and that's starting to happen here because what happens with that is actually when the value of the properties shift as well. When when McDonald's does well in a neighborhood, that means the real estate prices change. So that small shop that used to be a small sundry shop is pushed out. So we no longer have that resource here. So this is what they call a food sovereignty issue rather than a food security issue. And a lot of the times, I think they make the mistake here of talking about food security, but not being able to have enough food. But actually, what is actually happening is we are pre-food security issues. We're at the pre-sovereignty where the way we eat is changing so drastically, and we're really not noticing it. And even some of the actors involved are the state. The state owns some of these McDonald. They are co-owners of McDonald's, and you know. So the problem is actually quite intertwined, um, and the average person has no idea that this is kind of going on. And before you know it, there will be no sundry shops in your neighborhood. You know, all the small farms that used to service our city are disappearing, and we are only serviced by the big farms that are further away or in another country. You know, we are now buying things from a supermarket, and where it's not very clear where it's coming from, how it's being done, all that kind of stuff. So it's
So you see, when you're talking about this happens every time, right? So something is pushed out, and some bigger corporation comes in everything, medicine or food or anything. So it
yeah.
grows very, and then there will be some revolution happens inside within the communities and stuff, and you see small farmers coming up. So this happens one by one usually, probably in other places, but I think here in India both caught up together. I'd say the communities of the resistance or resistance
Yeah, I
towards
yeah, I
it.
get the sense you're probably more resilient. Yeah, I think you're a little bit more resilient. Yeah.
We have lot of new organic stores coming up every now and then.
Oh, okay.
We have more farmers converting into organic farming because they started to understand, they're poisoning the land going in, they're poisoning the air. So this is also catching up as fast as, I'd say, equally as fast as the modern agriculture.
Ah, okay. So there's some kind
Not
of
to, yeah, yeah.
equilibrium going on. Okay.
And sometimes
That's
what
interesting.
I was saying, in other countries, probably in first world countries, first the modern agriculture would grow very fast, and then the alternative agriculture or the old ways of agriculture would start. A few people understands the problems of the modern agriculture, and then this would come. But I'd say in India, both are catching up together, and
Okay.
because
Okay, that's interesting.
that probably could be very subjective because I am in Mysore, and this area is more into this organic farming and stuff like that. Probably not much as North India. In North India doesn't see this much probably, as far as I understand. But here in South India, this is big. Like organic farming is getting bigger. Like I'd say 5 years ago, getting an organic coffee was difficult because all the coffee plantation was designed in such a way that it consumes the fertilization and pesticides. But now I can find organic coffee pretty easily.
Okay, that's interesting.
The organic rice is it's probably 10% more than the regular rice. The cost of
Okay.
organic is just 10% more than the regular rice.
How
Mm,
is that happening? How is that demand being uh made buoyant? Because people know more? Are they more aware of what's going on?
More people, both are aware. The producers are aware, and then the consumers are also aware. And one more thing is, our farmers are we are having more educated farmer these days. Why I say that is because see a lot of people who are working in other countries and even in Bangalore, working in IT, living
Yeah.
in
Right, right. Yeah.
the farm that his grandfather used to run, and now he is growing such a beautiful food like organic food and the quality food. And not only he's growing for himself, he's going to that one organic store that was there, and he's putting his stall there also, so that people can buy it from there. And those things are is increasing, and we will have this melas. Melas is like fairs, organic fairs. Like every 2 months, we'll have organic fairs here in Mysore. So we'll have specialized organic fairs. So once we'll only have jackfruit organic fairs, then we'll have tuber
Oh, wow.
fair.
Okay. That's
These
interesting.
fairs which will concentrate on one particular type of food. Greens, we'll have tubers, we'll have fruits, we'll have only rice, we'll have wheat, different type of ragis or millets. Millet is huge in India. So we have millet melas are happening. So more people are understanding, like producers are also understanding, and consumers wants to buy because nowadays we have money. Like everyone has a lot of money, they can afford to buy organic banana, which is 120 rupees a kg. Otherwise than regular modern agriculture banana is 80 kilo rupees. It's just 40 rupees more. They can afford to buy organic banana every day. They
Okay.
can they can afford to buy organic vegetables every day. And it's more accessible also. We don't I don't have to drive more than a kilometer to get to an organic shop from here. Uh,
Okay, that's good to
that's
know. That's interesting. Yeah.
that's why I felt that uh, agriculture for the consumption, like food part of the agriculture is really growing as fast as the modern agriculture. But when it comes to other agriculture, where like cotton or these kind of things, is not as fast as it, because the whole infrastructure was copied from west, and we still have that infrastructure, which is no, yeah. And people are more aware of what they put in their mouth than what they were. So, or what they use in their homes. It could be furniture, or it could be something else which is comes from an organic product. So first they are switching up the food very fast, and I think the other things will also catch up. So
Okay. Okay. So let's move on to that question I was actually about because I want to do this workshop or thing, and we've done it. It's called How to Eat, which is actually kind of a strange thing to say to someone. Let me teach you how to eat. It's something that you should know, right? And one of the problems is because information is changing. Even what we in the Western world, how to eat is shifting. The food pyramid is shifted. People that what we used to think was correct, the food pyramid, which is 50% carbohydrate, 30%, that. Actually, now there's a lot of questions about that, whether that's correct or not. You know, and then there's actually a lot of questions around. There's a lot of pushback against vegetarian plant-based diets because they say there's not enough protein, blah blah blah. But now there's actually a lot more science that tells us, you know, there is, and actually one of my friends wrote a book for kids. It's called "What Do Animals Eat," and he actually focused on big animals like gorillas and buffaloes, and they're vegetarians. So they're able to actually build and maintain quite a bit big mass on a vegetarian diet. So some of this stuff is just bullshit, about uh, vegetarian food not being the sufficient to do. So it's actually just to help people kind of think about this. Another couple of areas. One is actually food quantities have actually changed. What we're supposed to be eating. The corporate world wants us to eat more. I remember when I went to the States, one of the things I wanted to do as a sort of a romantic notion, I watch movies and I see these people go open their fridge and take out a tub of ice cream and eat from the tub. Because you don't actually do that in the UK because it's too expensive. So, so there's this kind of romanticization of these kind of things. There's also, the food is actually manipulated so that you're actually addicted to it. There's so much sugar, there's so much fat, there's so much salt that you're actually literally addicted to this food now. And you don't really know it. You don't really know why you're doing it. So why you're eating is no longer for nutrition. It's actually for a sort of a psychological, emotional response to the world. It's to make you feel good, to celebrate someone's birthday, or it's kind of screwed up. We've kind of lost this notion that food is actually to nourish us. Which is where my interest in the Ayurvedic thing is, because I read this great sort of summary of it, and in Ayurvedic traditions, first of all, how much you eat is supposed to be determined by your cupped hands because it's supposed to reflect the size of your stomach. So you already got a guide. You've immediately got like a visual guide about, don't cross that line because you don't really need more than that. So that was one thing. And then the other thing it says is that you should be involved with your food, i.e., if you're not actually growing it, then you should be buying it or you should be interacting with the people selling it or making it. Uh, and then you should maybe be involved in the preparation of it. You should be chopping and cooking or helping in that. And then you should be also thinking about the emotional part of it where you should be eating with family and friends so you're not unhappy, when you're eating, which is actually very much the American experience. Sometimes you're eating alone in your car, on your way home from working overtime till 9 o'clock at night. So that is where my interest in it is. So does that ring any bells with you, that information? Is that something
yeah,
you were? Yeah.
you mean- when you are saying that, I also remember. Um, woman. I remember in the movies we have longer movies in India. And the Hollywood movies are 3 hours long, and we have a break in between. And in that break, if you are not buying something, then you might look poor or you might look out of the scene. So everyone would go out and buy popcorn, buying big large popcorn and eating. Everyone has to. The intervals are designed for that. And just after the screen turned off, the movie's turned off, you'll get the ad about popcorn and a Coca-Cola bottle which is fizzing. So
Yeah,
you're gonna have to go and buy it, or else you are not the right person. Like you are not.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're being culturally shaped around food. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So these kind of
And,
things. I remember as soon as you said that, yeah.
yeah, but did you, because when I worked in India, I felt that the people were very, they seemed quite more aware about rules around food. Like we would go out to eat and, one of them would say, oh no, I can't eat lamb because, I'm a you're a certain body type and you shouldn't eat this. I'm a, and I remember reading up about it and, there are people who are this body type and they should eat these foods. Is that something that you were exposed to?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, sometimes it is we treat it such a way that you can try to switch your body type for both of it depending on the seasons. And there are some people who would just can't try other types. So it is. I don't know how to say this, but it's called vata and pitta, like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Mm,
right. Yeah.
yeah. So one is in English. When we say it in English, we would say it like this, but it's not like that. It's food which is heat or hot, and some food which is cold to your body, like that. I'm
Which is
just trying.
actually the Chinese also have that kind of thought process. There's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
cooling foods and warming foods. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, say you have caught a cold because you are in the rain. Then you are not supposed to eat certain food which would increase your cold that you have caught. Rather, you would switch to eating pepper, ginger, which is more hot.
Warming. Yeah.
So, yeah. So
Yeah.
these kind of things. We do this every day without thinking. Unconsciously,
Okay.
we are
So
taking that
it's
choice.
sort of you've osmosed all of that and it's in your sort of software lah, when you
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like
okay.
we wouldn't
Yeah.
buy cucumber in this period of time when it's
Yeah.
raining because it's colder, and you can if you're eating too much cucumber, you can easily catch a cold. It's not just said. We experience it every now and then, and as soon as we get the cold, I mean, you get a cold in both ways. If you are too cold, like if your body is too cold, then you'll got a cold, or if your body is too hot, you'll got a cold. There's two type of cold.
So
I don't know. I'm probably someone listening to this will be like, "What's the cold and hot?" But I don't know how to say that in English. But that's
well
how
actually
it's.
that is a bit of a problem because it doesn't fit in with the Western concept of thinking,
Yeah.
and it may be working in a way that is not about hot and cold. It's just that is how it's articulated here,
Mm.
you know. But there is this notion of rules. For example, like there are some rules that I cannot forget. I remember like not allowed to eat dairy and pineapple together. I couldn't
Oh.
eat an ice cream it's like so even to now I actually can't I actually find it difficult to do that.
Hmm.
It's so part of my software that I struggle to actually break that rule.
Yeah, yeah, that happens with what I was saying to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
same thing. If I already got a cold, I wouldn't go and pick up a cucumber by myself. I'd never do that.
Right.
I'd rather and also I'll choose kashaya, which is the mixture of some Ayurvedic herbs over coffee or tea when I have cold. My mind automatically asks for it, and my wife makes it. So that's how it's.
So so on the subject of that earlier part, I was saying that you should be involved in the sourcing of your food or the preparation of the food. That is something that you would do. Are you involved with the buying of the food and helping with the cooking?
Yeah.
Do you teach your
Uh,
children that?
so we grow some of our food by here. We have
Okay,
small kitchen, but we also buy a lot more than we grow because as a small one
sure.
thing, and we can grow all the thing all the time. So yeah, so we buy some of it, and so I help in prepare most of the time. I prepare some of the time. Say today morning I prepared the breakfast.
Okay,
No, she is working on it like that. So,
okay.
but not only for the everyday consumption of food, something we would keep it longer period also. We both kind of take and prepare things rather than buying it. We get that whatever we prepare for the longer period, say some we are doing some pickles and some seasoning and stuff like that. We can buy in the from the shelf directly, but most of the time we make it ourselves. And my
Are
mom
people
makes it.
buying prepared foods a lot in in India? Like, like here, a lot of people are so they are working. It's not just the work, there is also the commute time as well. There's actually no time left to do food preparation. And now both members of the family are working. So there's not one person at home preparing the food. So the the work of your food is now being parceled out to someone else,
Yeah,
which you
yeah.
don't control.
So yeah, you saw the you know dosa, right? Dosa is one of the famous food of India.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
So
Yeah,
the dosa batter, making dosa batter, all is a process of 1.5 a day. So you
yeah.
have to plan a day or 2 days before whether you're going to make dosa after 2 days. So to
Okay.
do that, at not yesterday, day before yesterday night, I have to soak some rice, and yesterday morning, that is, yeah, I have to grind it,
So you
and
actually do
then
that?
yeah,
You actually
um,
prepare batter from scratch?
yes, yes,
Because you can buy that stuff.
yeah, yeah, we
Because
can
it's
buy it. It's 5 minutes, 2 minutes away from my home. We get
no, I mean the
we
even
simply buy.
the batter I can buy in a packet and like mix it with water.
Yeah, yeah, we get that here too, and lot of people buy it. That shift is also very easily happening, because the yeah, because availability, as you said, commuter time. Both are working, and nuclear families. Their families are not together anymore. Mom and dad live somewhere, and we live somewhere. So our mom and dad will not be able to cook or prepare these kind of things when we are away working. So buying from the supermarket is very easy. Yeah, uh, yeah, that's happening a lot in India. But I think there are few people like us who are still, kind of preparing everything by themselves. Most of the things, at least.
You mentioned popcorn. Are you eating more snack and food that are not actually for your nutrition, like cakes and donuts and crisps? Is that because here it's really bad? We actually have stores that you can only now there are more and more stores that only sell snacks, and they're actually replacing stores that sell real food. We have
Yeah, yeah, that's
7-Eleven,
happening.
places like 7-Eleven and places like that where everything is a snack, you know?
Yeah, yeah, same thing happening here. If your birthday and if you're celebrating someone else's birthday, and if you have not got a cake, then you're not celebrating that birthday. And if you're not buying at least like big cake, then you're not celebrating it properly.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to have some cakes, then you have to have some crisp along to go with it, and then some fizz to drink along with it. So the whole table is filled with ready-made food. That's all you're gonna have for that night.
Wow.
And
The world
nowadays, it so happened that birthdays for babies, the birthdays are not in years these days; they are in months. Like newly born
really.
babies, they get 12 birthdays within a year of their birth.
Oh.
So every month on that day, the parent does the birthday celebration. That has become really really common here. And usually when I say, today was my son's birthday, and like, you're not doing anything, like, no, I'm not doing anything. You're not. So that's like so bizarre that I'm not doing anything on my son's birthday. Anything in the sense, I'm not celebrating. I'm not set up a party for people to come, or not even doing a cake cutting in my home. It's so weird. Like, why is this guy weird? That's what I get.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So when you go out to eat, like where are you going? Because like here, the choices are you would go to like something very humble, like a hawker center, which is actually my favorite. It actually has the most heritage style food. It's very simple, but you know, it's great. They're all things that I recognize from when I was a kid. It tastes great. Um, then you have more like casual restaurants that now cook food that maybe you would have eaten at home. But when I was a kid, you there were no restaurants like that. You ate that food at home. You wouldn't find it in a
Uh-huh.
restaurant, you know.
Yeah.
Is that you do you have that here do you have that in India?
Yeah, I think we have all the. I think in the spectrum we have all of it, like hawkers also. But I wouldn't say we will get quality food in with the street hawkers. We have lot of big food streets, which are designated for these street hawkers. But I wouldn't say these food streets are very quality wise.
Right.
Like yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Okay,
less
that's
quality.
another change. Even the snack things, the local snack things, like we used to have something called lok lok, which is actually things on sticks, you know, like things on sticks. But when I was a kid, it would go into a stock pot. It would be boiled. And now it's going into oil. It's being fried. So there are changes like that as well. The
And
fried version
yeah,
is,
ingredients they use is not very dependable. The oil they use might be of
oh,
some
yeah, it
very
really scares me where they're getting
reused.
that oil from. Yeah.
So though that's so you get good food very few places, but you can't really depend on quality food when it comes to street hawkers. But we have a lot of them. Then we have, as you said, a casual restaurants, which is open from morning to evening. You get the food that you cook in your home there also. I'd say almost the same quality, but it costs a little bit more than the street hawkers would charge. I think that is affordable by 50-60% of people who want to eat outside. It's easily affordable. And then we have some good restaurants, it's where you can go down, sit for a while, order something, and slowly eat your meal or whatever you want. We have fine dines like that also. And then
Okay.
again, the fast food. Fast food chain is also big. And so we have India, I think in the spectrum, we have five different kinds from street hawkers to fine
Yeah.
dining. And in between, we have fast food chains. And then we have this casual restaurants and some good restaurants like that. Mm,
Something I noticed when I came back in 2010, and I noticed that, you know, just the amount of malls that are now here uh, has not only changed what, you know, so it's changed public space. People are not going to parks anymore, they're going to malls.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, malls are actually where people congregate now. They're not, you know, so A, they're not walking or exercising. They're in a mall, sitting, eating, snacking, moving from one snack eatery to another eatery. So that's already bad. The other interesting thing that I thought is, you know, we live in a tropical climate where it's hot outside. And in the when I was a kid, that was moderated by when you went out. You know, you would go out in the evening to eat, and then maybe later at 9:30, maybe you go for a drive and get a snack from somewhere. You know, so you managed the heat by the time of day you went out. So now with the malls, everything's air conditioned, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, and air conditioning isn't cooling the air. It's actually pulling the heat out and throwing it back outside. So it's actually creating even hotter cities. You know, our cities are now hot, and now you're forced to go into the mall to actually not be crazy hot, you know. So I also see that people are eating I think one of their interest in eating these foreign foods is because it's cold in the malls, you know. These foods are actually cool tempered foods, you know, pizza and burger, that sort of high amount of carbohydrate and fat is actually very satisfying when you're cold, you know. Whereas I
Yeah, I
think when
totally
you're in a little bit of heat, you're not that hungry, you know? When I was a kid, nobody was fat. I think I was the fattest kid, because we had a little bit more of a Western diet. But I think that is one of the weirdest things to me is that people
if you
are
want to fit
living in a.
Western diet, you need to create the climate. So you build malls and make it cool too. Yeah, it makes sense what you said.
So are you seeing a lot more malls in India as well?
Yeah, that's happening.
Yeah.
That shift is there. And malls and even the shops, the fast food restaurants, they are, they run AC all the time. And as you know, we also live in quite a hot place, and people would like to go have something, in air conditioned place. So just rather than going and catching up a budgie in the street hawker, they'd say, let's get a burger there. It's colder also. That's
Yeah.
what happens.
Let's get out of the heat. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are ways out of this. Like, for example, in Bangkok, the malls are starting to get a little bit more greener. They're built around a green space. They're not enclosed air conditioning. So, these things can change. This is a design issue. This is a governance issue. They can make better decisions about who they
Yeah.
let, you know, and what they do and all this kind of stuff. So this is also something, but I don't really see a will to really do that change, you know, uh, and I don't see enough. I don't see enough information in our space that really values our heritage to know that it actually was better. A lot of the things that we did were actually wiser to do, given our climate. Given what grows in our environment, all this kind of stuff. So we're moving in this quite a bad direction. Um, in this sort of globalized, Americanized food environment. So, what about Indian food? Is that changing at all? Are there modern versions of it? Is that seeing any
Yeah.
kind of innovation?
There are, I mean, both ways, good ways and bad, bad ways too. You have better options of eating millets rather than, so if you have to eat a millet, you had few types of dishes that you had to eat. Now there are more types of dishes because there are more processing that you can do, like, making a malt. We could not have all type of millet malt before, but we get all type of malt in the sense it's I don't know how to say, it's like a powdered form which dissolves in milk as soon as you put it in the milk and
Oh,
becomes
okay,
liquid.
okay,
So it's
okay,
good for you, and it was used to be made only with ragi. It's a long process. You have to wash it, dry it in the sun, and then
okay,
powder
okay,
it. Take it, make a difference of two types of powder you get from it, and one will dissolve and the other more. And then you make sweets from the one, and they will keep it to make malt in the other. You would store it, and whenever it's usually, yeah, eaten when someone is not very well, if they have an illness or they're sick,
okay,
so that
okay.
is
Yeah,
easy to digest and it gives all the nutrition that you need. So you can use for they would store that for longer period to eat. So now that more making malt is a lot easier, and you get that malt in different kind of millet. So that innovation has brought us the food, easy processing of food, which is good in one sense. In the other sense, I'd say, all the new kind of fast food
yeah.
this, so it's both is
I would love to come and see what it's like what a supermarket looks like, what a sundry store looks like in India. It would be quite fascinating to me.
yeah, there is we have good old markets still alive. We have small we call it sante
Are they
or
alive but
weekly
dying,
markets.
or are they
No, no,
pretty
no,
much?
no, not at all. I don't think so. A lot of people go there all the time.
Ours are dying. Our wet markets, where the quality of the food is much higher, they're actually dying. Less people are going there. A, B. those markets that used to draw from the local food system is now drawing from a much further food system. It's coming from Indonesia. It's coming, so the supermarkets probably even further, like potatoes from China or Bangladesh or whatever. But like in the wet markets, things that used to be something coming from the environment, like coconuts, for example, right? Johor, but in Johor, you cannot buy a coconut that grows in Johor. It all comes from Indonesia now, you
Oh.
know?
Mm-hmm.
So everything is and then everything like fruit, because it's almost like there's the shift in economics here as well as people move out of agriculture into more industrial. They don't want to grow stuff. That's one thing. Then the other thing is there's also a drive to grow things that are more profitable. So they'd rather grow palm oil and durian than food, you know. So what you see is a depletion of agricultural supply. That's a sort of a food supply, a local food supply system that is kind of vibrant. That is kind of dying here. So our what we call wet markets, which is where you can buy this stuff, uh, so for example, like another thing is, we're a peninsula, right? So we're surrounded by water. So technically, we should be getting a lot of fish. But now I actually have to ask them, where's the fish coming from? If it's not coming from the east side of Malaysia, it's not wild caught. They're farming it. They're farming it in the straits on the west side, which is actually not healthy because the water is very contaminated because of, pesticide, the water's being affected by what's happening there. Uh, there are, there are problems with like, uh, if you buy fish from the west side, you don't actually know where it's coming from because some of the fishermen are just exchanging fish for fuel because our fuel is subsidized. So the Indonesian fishermen will take
Oh.
our fuel, and so it's not that we've lost some transparency there. So when I buy fish now, I have to actually ask, did this come from the west side? And if it didn't, I'm not buying it. Having said that, it's still a lot better than the US, where fish
Yes,
is
yeah.
so expensive. Fish is expensive there, you know. And wild caught fish is unaffordable. It's like $60 a kilo or something crazy. You know, you couldn't even afford to eat it. So here, at least we're still there. It's still available. My worry is always that people are just not noticing that it's slipping away. That's always my kind of concern. There's not enough content that keeps us knowledgeable about. Hey, we should keep this going. This is important. Another thing is like we eat a small thing called nasi lemak. Did you ever have that when you went to East
But
Malaysia?
what?
Nasi lemak is like a small, like a packet of rice in a leaf. It has a little bit of a spicy thing and then a small fish. Anyway, it's like a breakfast food. It's like a breakfast food. And that small fish is almost extinct now because it used to actually exist in our straits. But the straits are now so contaminated, you know,
Oh,
and then culturally shifted. What used to be this very humble thing of rice, coconut rice, which made it a bit fattier, a little bit more carbohydrate rich because of the coconut milk in it, that little fish and a little bit of egg. Now, if you eat a nasi lemak in like a small shop, you will have like fried chicken. It's become like a much bigger meal, and I'm like, oh, that's not what it's supposed to be. I kind of want that smaller thing again. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
That is that. Yeah, one thing that I wanted to say in the beginning of this conversation, you said power of buying is like an voting of what you want to buy.
Yeah, it's our
Mm.
only power right now because we can't
Yeah, yeah,
control those corporations.
yeah, yeah. But you know that that in India that is so very well utilized by corporates. I'll tell you how. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. We have something called as UPI, I think uninterrupted payment interface. It was kind of started in India, and it's very, very good in India, especially
Okay.
after uh, COVID, because there was I think just before COVID, like 10 years ago, I think in 2017 we had a 17 or 15. Yeah, so we had a demonetization, and all our previous currency was demonetized, and new currency was brought in, and the amount India is big, and replacing that amount of money was difficult. So they brought in UPI. UPI is, I think, uninterrupted payment interface, where you can just use a small app on your phone, and you're using that. You can connect that to your bank, and then you can
Okay. So
pay
it's
anywhere.
cashless payment.
Yeah, it's a cashless payment.
Okay.
Everyone has they'll have a QR code. You can scan and directly pay to them. You can connect to your all your banks. You have 5 banks accounts. You can connect to all of them just using that app. And most of these apps are private apps. Like Google has one of the app, and there are Paytm, and then PhonePe, and then
Okay.
blah blah blah. There are so many small, yeah. Anyway, big or small apps, companies. We are all private apps, and they don't charge anything for this interface. Like you can use that app for free. To you don't have to
Sure.
the exchange is easier. You don't have to go to an ATM and withdraw money, which was only
That's
twice a
happening
month.
here too. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good. Yeah.
you can only withdraw twice a month. If you withdraw third time, you'll have to pay some charge for the bank, and then you have to for the maintenance of that ATM card or a credit card or debit card, you have to
Yep.
pay a
Yep.
certain amount every month, every year.
Yep.
All of these things are eliminated now. It's free of charge to use this, and you don't have to carry cash anywhere. You can just pay with just
Yeah.
a tap.
That's happening here
So
too. Yeah.
yeah, but what's happening? They don't realize is that this private companies, they are collecting data. They are giving you free interface, but what they are getting back from you is they know everything what you buy.
Sure.
So they know in what period of time what you buy. Like in every mornings what you buy, or in this season what you buy. So they know all of this,
Yeah.
because it's everywhere. Like even the smallest street hawker has this,
Yeah.
which has say in a day he or she would only make a sale of $5. That's the entire sale of her for the entire day. They will have this interest. So everyone has this interface, and everyone knows, like all the private companies or this interface companies, they know what your financial status is, what you buy, what you don't buy, what you don't like, and what you don't like. And
Yeah.
keeping that, so say Google or other company have this, and they analyze this data, and they sell this data to whoever
Sure.
needs, like brands, and those brands approaches you the way you don't know, through like small ads on your phones, and then ads on your YouTube, and even on the newspapers, and
Yeah.
the whole city data. And they're like, oh, this city like to buy fish rather than chicken much,
Yeah.
so we'll have to bring in more fish. The way we're going to bring in, we're going
Oh,
to, okay, so
so okay. So you're saying it's a good thing. It does affect the
I don't know.
supply.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's more bad than it's good. Like what they can
Yeah.
easily
I.
manipulate
I
what
don't
we buy.
know. It's hard to figure out where I stand on it because there are good things that come out of it.
Yeah,
For
yeah, yeah.
example,
There is.
I was talking to someone who does IT in China, right? And he says, in China, you can just leave your phone and walk away. You can leave your laptop and walk away. No one's going to see you. You know why? Because the security camera, the whole environment of security is so different now. You would be caught within an hour. Okay.
Yeah,
But to get that, you have to give up a lot of privacy, which is something that in, like, say, the European country, they really push back on that. Like in the UK, when the cameras first started going up, all the rich people were like wearing hoods. They didn't want to be seen. And so it's it's something that, and also I think these things are happening so fast that it's hard to actually have a point of view until we're almost
It
past a certain,
happened.
you
Yeah, I
know?
mean, with that, with this payment interface, one thing is so easy that you don't have to carry big caches anymore. You don't have to
Yeah,
carry,
yeah, yeah. I
and you
I
can
barely
do
carry cash
smaller
now. Yeah.
interactions too. Like you have to just buy something which is only 7 rupees. You can just do transfer 7 rupees into the instead of carrying 5 rupee coin and 2 rupee coin along with you, and which is become easier. Like smaller interactions for smaller exchanges have become easier. But what we have to give up for that is one thing. That the other thing is now this street hawker who used to sell every day, who say he used to sell 2000 rupees of worth of business he used to do
Uh-huh.
every day. He never paid tax before. He didn't have to pay
Oh, so
tax.
now he has to. So now he's.
Now bank knows for how much you're earning, so now
Yeah.
he has to pay the tax, and he don't have any other ways to escape from tax. Say rich people will know that they can take loans, and they can take insurances, and then you can balance out the taxes that they
So.
have to pay, and what they get. They would know all of this, and this guy who doesn't know anything about tax, now he can't run away from them. So it's not fair. It's not it's not equal for all of the people. So now everyone is in the hands of the government and
Yeah.
which corporates. You can't get away from them at all. So they can seize before, if they have to do something. So say if they didn't wanted the street hawkers to be here, they had to literally file a case and do all of this, and then that would take few years, and by that time he would have be happy there doing whatever he wants, which is in a way could be right or wrong. That's a matter of subject whole completely different. But now all you have to do is talk to the bank and seize all his UPI payments. Now he can't do any transactions anymore, and
Oh, okay.
not lot of
Mm.
people carry cash these days. So not lot of people would come and buy it from him by paying cash. Then he has to move away, which has become very easy. So these kind of things, controlling lower middle class people, has become very easy with these kind of interfaces. I'd say there is, it has become good for rich people or big
Sure.
corporates or government, and it has become bad for people. People who don't know yet that it has become bad for them.
Okay, I think we've kind of talked for now, but that maybe is the beginning of another conversation because we're sort of, we are in this process where our politics is starting to be pressured because the world is changing very quickly, just as you described, and we're finding ourselves in these complicated situations where we are simply not thriving. Some of us are just not thriving in this new world, and it requires
Power
some
is
kind of
different. I don't think we fully have that power also. Yeah. The power of buying, I think we are losing that too.
yeah, yeah.
The only power we
Okay,
had.
okay, all right.
Yeah,
Hey, well, we talked for a whole hour about food, so that's pretty
yeah,
good.
really good. Yeah,
So, I'll
I
catch up
didn't
with
know
you
it.
again in like a month or two, and if you have an idea for a topic that you kind of you want to get into, we can also do that.
Yeah, I am. I'll think about something if there is, and
Yeah.
then if we'll
Okay.
talk about it. Yeah,
All right. Good talking to you.
yeah. See ya. Bye.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.